Ontario's Bill 156 strikes a balance between an activist's right to protest and hold unpopular, unscientific, and even unfounded opinions, while at the same time respecting property rights of farmers and maintaining biosecurity protocols that protect the Canadian food supply. So naturally, the radical animal rights movement is enraged that this new law is headed to final reading June 16th. Ontario's Bill 156 is dubbed an ag-gag law by urban chicken huggers. However, the law does as much to protect the safety of trespassing radicals through steep fines as deterrence to trespassing as it does to protect the farmers from civil liability when a vegan animal liberator encounters farm equipment that doesn't quite look like the electric bicycle that they're used to, and then said vegan cannot access enough soy caloric reserves to get themselves out of the way of a dangerous farm implement. Now, here's the explainer of the new law. It's Bill 156, an act to protect Ontario's farms and farm animals from trespassers and other forms of interference, and to prevent contamination of Ontario's food supply. Now, this part is a little bit long, but I think it's important that we read it together anyway, because you need to see for yourself just how absolutely reasonable this law is. It protects farmers' property rights, and it protects truck drivers from being assaulted by these radical animal rights activists, and it lays out the things that truck drivers can do to get away from animal rights activists without breaking the law. It makes everything very, very clear. Okay, let's get into it. The bill is intended to protect farm animals, the food supply, farmers, and others from risks that are created when trespassers enter places where farm animals are kept, or when persons engage in unauthorized interactions with farm animals. You could insert a joke there. The risks include the risk of exposing farm animals to disease and stress, as well as the risk of introducing contaminants into the food supply. The bill sets out what's called animal protection zones. These are areas on farms, animal processing facilities, and other prescribed premises on which farm animals may be kept or located. Subsections 4, 1, 2, and 3 of the law prohibit persons from entering in or on the animal protection zones without the prior consent of the owner or occupier of the farm, facility, or premises. Subsection 4 prohibits persons from entering or interacting with farm animals in or on the animal protection zones, or from carrying out prescribed activities in or on the animal protection zones without the prior consent of the owner or occupier of the farm, facility, or premises. Section 5 prohibits persons from interfering with a motor vehicle that is transporting farm animals, and from interfering or interacting with the farm animals in the motor vehicle without the prior consent of the driver of the motor vehicle. Section 7 allows the owner or occupier of a farm animal processing facility or prescribed premises to take certain actions in situations where a person trespasses on an animal protection zone or does any of the things prohibited in Section 4. Section 8 sets out the actions that the driver of a motor vehicle transporting farm animals may take in situations where a person does anything prohibited in Section 5. Section 14 sets out the maximum fine at $15,000 for the first offense under the Act and $25,000 for subsequent offenses. That fine may be increased by a court in certain prescribed circumstances that increase the gravity of the offense. Section 15 provides that if a person is found guilty of an offense under the Act, the court may, in addition to imposing a fine under the Act, require the person found guilty to pay restitution to the owner or occupier of a farm, animal processing facility, or prescribed premises, or to the driver of a motor vehicle for any injury, loss, or damages suffered as a result of the commission of the offense. So the law is clear about what you can and can't do for both sides. Animal justice types, though, boy, are they mad. They can't now invade the homes and workplaces of farmers, scaring farmers' children, bringing their gross diseases, hanging off of trucks, and stressing out the animals. Just look at this from Animal Justice. This dangerous ag-gag law will help farmers cover up animal cruelty on farms. Instead of punishing the farm industry for abuse and other illegal conduct, Bill 156 would punish employee whistleblowers who expose wrongdoing. Legal experts believe 156 violates the Canadian Charter, and similar legislation has already been struck down by the courts as unconstitutional in Idaho, Utah, Iowa, Kansas, and North Carolina. Except those are all in the United States. This next part is weird, though, because it seems like animal justice is making my point about why they need to stay away from farms for biosecurity reasons, but they're just too radical to even realize what they're saying. Look at this. In addition to covering up cruelty, Bill 156 would make it more difficult to expose poor workplace conditions on farms and in slaughterhouses. With thousands of COVID-19 infections and 5 deaths amongst vulnerable slaughterhouse workers, slaughterhouses should be more transparent, not less. Factory farms are the perfect breeding grounds for zoonotic diseases and other deadly pathogens that can sicken humans, like bird and swine flu, and may lead to future pandemics. If Bill 156 passes, these dangerous conditions will remain hidden behind closed doors. Now, Western farms aren't at all the breeding grounds for diseases, and that's because farmers don't let every malnourished hippie invade their barns and kiss their hogs and stroke their hens. But if we want to talk about wet markets in Asia, I'd love to have that conversation with these people. However, they always pick the low-hanging, exceedingly peaceful fruit. These radical far-left types know as much about animal agriculture as they do about plant agriculture. I mean, I can't get enough of the videos and pictures of the radicals in the newly declared Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone trying to feed themselves with the bounty of a grateful Mother Earth. Their soy seedling, tomato plant, pepper crop on an inch of soil dumped on some gross foundling cardboard in a random green space somewhere in the heart of their newly independent Antifa caliphate should teach them a little something about just how much hard work, science, and frankly, prayer goes into the very food supply they now take for granted. However, getting back to Ontario, Ontario's Bill 156 is based on Alberta legislation that received royal assent in December 2019, with new amendments to the law retroactive back to January 2018. Bill 27, the Trespass Statutes Protecting Law-Abiding Property Owners Amendment Act, made changes to the Occupiers Liability Act by offering increased protections to property owners from civil liability for injuries to trespassers where the owner has reasonable grounds to believe the trespasser is committing or about to commit a criminal offense. The bill also came with a 5-fold increase to maximum fines for trespassing, with fines of up to $10,000 for a first offense and up to $25,000 for subsequent offenses, as well as possible prison time of up to 6 months. And corporations that help to direct trespassers could face fines of up to $200,000, a first for Canada, the Alberta government said in a press release when the bill was first made into law. Bill 27 was drafted in response to a farm invasion at a Hutterite-run turkey facility in southern Alberta that ended with the RCMP intervening to negotiate an end to the trespass, only after the farmers from the peaceful religious sect capitulated to the extortion demands of the protesters. They wanted the liberation of 5 of the dumbest but most delicious birds to ever walk the face of the earth, with the protesters claiming to rehome the gobblers at a sanctuary near Calgary. Now, really, I'm a food libertarian, even though I have a lot of opinions about how some people eat. I believe you should be able to eat whatever you want, and I'll eat the way I want. The proof at the end of it all will be in the pudding, as they say. I mean, I would eat a panda, slowly, piece by piece, just to spite the Chinese government. But leave our farms alone and quit lying about good, decent farmers who toil and tend the land and their animals, who are price takers, not price setters, who buy at retail and sell at wholesale, because one day these farmers might rise up and fight back and invade your favorite mocha, choca, low-fat, almond milk frappe dealer. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. It might be a pandemic, but we are still busy holding this federal government to account. To support the work that we do as independent journalists, please go to helprebelnews.com.